Right, it's been a while, but here's another video review for you. And today I'm going to have a little chat about a big Taiwanese hit from last year, which is actually getting a European and I think it had a US release, called You Are the Apple of My Eye, which is based on a semi-autobiographical novel from a guy called Giddens Ko, who's a sort of online writer branching out into cinema. This is his directorial debut, and he also wrote the film The Killer Who Never Kills, which I'll probably talk about in the next couple of months. So, like I say, semi-autobiographical. Um, it's basically based on his early life, but with some small changes. The star of the film, him, or the guy who plays him, is a young actor called Ko Cheng Tung, who plays a rather similarly named guy called Ko Ching Teng, who's a bit of a wastrel and a layabout at school. He doesn't try very hard. He likes to crack jokes and play pranks on people. Bit of a mouthy git as well. He's got a whole bunch of friends, which are pretty stereotypical. There's a fat kid, and in fact the script makes play of this, says there's always a fat kid in the film. But they're all deeply in love with a young girl who's Michelle Chen, called Shen Chai Yi. Now, she's the prettiest girl in class, she's the class leader, and she's a really smart, honest student. She's working really hard to succeed. And she doesn't really have much time for these boys, partly because she's working so hard, and secondly because she doesn't really have much time for people who don't work hard. However, an incident at school leads her to begin to understand that actually he's quite a decent guy, and she sort of basically a sacrifice he makes for her leads them to become friends, and a kind of unfulfilled romance starts. The film goes on over a number of years, sort of the high school and college years, and then on further into the future, showing how their relationship developed and changed. Do they get together? Well, I'll let you see the film to say that, but I actually thought it was really interesting because it was very truthful and honest and realistic, and sometimes life really is just like that. It's a teen comedy, I suppose, at some level, which means there's lots of jokes about masturbation, lots of sequences about it, boys being boys, if for want of a better word. So it's not quite one for all family watching, which is a shame. It also means that, as I said before, the supporting characters, his friends, although humorous, are pretty one-dimensional, and sometimes I didn't quite understand how close friends they were with him. Only one guy, the aforementioned fat guy, actually gets any real kind of focus on him, and even then it's a bit underplayed. And it gets even worse when he goes off to college, because the guys he meets there are similar but even less well drawn. But it's a lovely, touching film. And not only that, it's got that kind of imagination and touch that sometimes only a first-time director can pull off. There's lovely little things that go on the screen, little clever little tricks, little visual guides and cues. Certainly in the first half of the film, their appearance tail off later, but I think that's okay because he's trying to get into more of the relationship and the friendship between the two lead characters. Ko Cheng Tung is fantastic as a sort of disaffected youth who finds inspiration from his friendship and his burgeoning love. He goes from being, like I say, like a prankster who's madly in love with Joey Wong, who doesn't really try at school and just turns up and does what he has to do. Although we see at home he's quite a friendly, charming young man with a great and rather bizarre family. But he grows and changes and becomes the guy, I guess, that Giddens Ko has become in real life. Michelle Chen is equally excellent, in fact surprisingly so, because it must be hard to play the girl who's the prettiest girl in the class and the brightest girl in the class without appearing to be a little up herself, but she's not. She's just a really beautiful, decent person, and she has some quite tough stuff to get through. She has to talk about how we only see her at her very best as the super student, as the beautiful girl. Because we're seeing it very much through our author's eyes, we don't ever really see what goes on things which we don't see, we don't know about, which he doesn't know about. So there's a little darkness there, and there's some lovely touches. I really enjoyed it. It was a huge box office hit in Taiwan and over some other Asian territories. It might be a little lightweight. It might lack a little depth. The laughs do dry up after the first half of the film when we get into more dramatic territory. But for sheer enjoyment, I haven't enjoyed a film so much for a long time. Just a couple of beautiful touches because it's set back in the 80s and through the 90s. It just plays on ideas like there weren't mobile phones then, or not many people have mobile phones. So when the boys are at college, they have to queue up at a payphone to phone their girlfriends once a week. We have other wonderful moments between the friends when they're insulting each other and being mean, but behind it there's a care and a love between them, and this is only really highlighted when they get back together at the end many years later for an event which we are falsely hinted at the beginning of the film, where we see how, although the stereotypical bits of them remain, they've changed and they appreciate what they've been through. So in short, I think this is a beautiful, well-directed, fun, albeit lightweight, romantic comedy drama, and I'd highly recommend it to anybody who's interested. Thank you.